Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Didn't make a video yesterday because my allergies were still going crazy. I'm full of meds today, so I'm back to normal. We have a game in 2 days, ladies and gentlemen. 2 days, and we got to get over that yesterday. Yesterday, I got up and what I did is I watched some of that sports talk television, as they call it, and as much as I could watch of it, I watched, and I couldn't stand it. Skip and Shannon have allowed their producers into making their show a complete joke. You know what I'm saying? Both of them are so extreme in their points that their arguments have turned into 100% entertainment and very little like real sports talk. And poor Michael Vick yesterday, he was trying to talk football with Skip and Shannon, and they were angling everything to a pro Dak or anti Dak area. You know, pro for Skip and anti for Shannon, and there was very little actual football talk. So I watched that whole show, and I could pull like this much away from, you know, the actual game that was being played. So first of all, the game was not about Dak. It was about coaching. It was completely about coaching. And I believe in my heart of hearts that if we just kept pounding Zeke, who is one of the biggest, toughest running backs in the league, the Patriots defense would not have wanted to touch him in the fourth quarter. You guys out there that play football, you know what I'm talking about. When a big back keeps hitting you and hitting you and hitting you, you may be stopping him, you know, for 3 quarters. But when the fourth quarter gets there and it's cold and maybe wet and your ears get hurting in the helmet and stuff like that, you're not gonna want to touch him. You're not, and we would have. In my heart of hearts, I feel like Ezekiel Elliott would have scored. But no, you pass a lot. One, you have the worst elements out there to have a successful passing game. That's the start. That's the bottom line. When we saw the rain coming down and the temperatures dropping and whatever, we all say, my best friends who's Cowboys fans, I was like, this is a game where we got to just keep running. This is a game where we just got to keep running. Number 2, it's hard to see out there. The ball is slippery and hard to throw. That's the one thing I took from Skip and Shannon when they were talking about Troy Aikman, saying Troy Aikman, who is one of the most accurate quarterbacks that have ever played in the NFL, who could not play in those type of conditions because the ball is too slippery and the ball is so heavy because it's wet. And a slippery, wet football is also very difficult to catch. So on the other end, when you got Jason Witten dropping balls, when you have Amari Cooper not making that catch at the beginning of the game, it's hard. 4, Dak wasn't prepared for this weather, and I don't know how I told you on how bad it was going to be in New England before the week, but Dak was not prepared for this weather and had to switch to throwing with gloves during the game. Why didn't you start with the gloves? Why haven't you been practicing with the gloves? If he has, I don't know that a lot. Number 5, in all those elements that I just mentioned, 1 through 4. Number 5, you're going against the best pass defense in the NFL. And number 6, your number 1 receiver, the receiver that your offense is rallied around, Amari Cooper, is not 100%, and he's being shadowed by the best corner in the NFL right now, in Stephon Gilmore. You have all those things going against you. Yet you're still dumb enough to pass all game. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Now, for you guys that say the run game doesn't work or you hate running into the middle of the defense and getting 2 yards, yada, 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 I will say what I always say. The run game is working even when it's not working. So when it seems like it's not working, even those plays when Zeke runs into the middle of the defense for 1 yard, the defense still has to tackle him. They still take that blow from Ezekiel Elliott. It's a physics thing going on here, so it still wears the defense out. And number 2, your defense is still on the bench with the clock ticking. So those are 2 things that still work out of probably some more, but those are 2 things that still working even when you just run up the middle for 1 yard. But I get it. I understand what you're saying. The run game seems a little different this year. It could be our talent falling off. It's hard for me to believe that, but it could be our talent falling off. Our run game is scheme oriented. That powerful run game that we used to have is scheme oriented. It's not like the power blocking, like the guys are so big and much bigger and stronger than the guys across from them like there was in the 90s and just blow people off the football. That's never been our offensive line. Our offensive line is smart, fast, crafty, and things of that sort to get the job done. So and three, could it be coaching? Could it be coaching? The problem about running game, could it be coaching? You know what I believe? I believe the Dallas Cowboys, and I think I've said this before, I believe the Dallas Cowboys care more about their passing game, that they have developed the best in the league. I mean, we're the number one passing team in the league. Dak is the according to the numbers, Dak is has that best stats as far as yards in the league. We have done that because our offense gears toward that. They practice that. They work on that. They implement that in games. But I don't think the Dallas Cowboys understand the run game. No idea how to develop it, nor do they know how to utilize it. You know what I'm saying? I'll bring up a name. It's gonna sound like nails on a chalkboard to some of you guys, but you got to listen to me. Scott Linehan. I didn't want him in Dallas. When we hired Scott Linehan, I was like, what? Why are you getting this guy from Detroit that couldn't win? Yada, yada, yada. Didn't want him, just like I didn't want Jason Garrett, just like I didn't want Monty Kiffin or Rod Marinelli. Didn't want any of them. Nor did I want Bill Callahan to leave, because in my opinion, that's when the run game just started to tail out. That's when the offensive line just started to tail off after Bill Callahan left. But even though I didn't like Linehan, I can honestly say that he was made last year's scapegoat during Jason Garrett's tenure. If you look back at the end of every season, there is someone either on the football team or on the coaching staff, but mainly on the coaching staff, that will be made a scapegoat. And coming into next season, that was all our problem. So this year, all our problems was Scott Linehan. We had Scott Linehan. Scott Linehan was our problem. Now we don't have Scott Linehan. We got to get rid of Scott Linehan. So last year it was Scott Linehan's turn to be the scapegoat. So even though I did not like Scott Linehan, I have to say that over and over and over, because this is not a pro Scott Linehan thing. Even though I did not like Scott Linehan, he was probably the only person left on the coaching staff that actually understood the run game. He was the only person left on our coaching staff that actually understood and knew how to implement the run game. Now we're left with two quarterbacks whose offense is, in my opinion, is based upon passing concepts. Kellen Moore and Jason Garrett. Passers, routes, all that kind of stuff is the only thing that goes through their mind. And the run game is, we got a good offensive line and we got the best running back in the league. They'll be fine. No. You still have to coach them. In my opinion, Zeke is left to get things on his own. Tony Pollard is running on instincts right now. So if he sees a hole out there, he goes and gets it or whatever. That's why a lot of you guys like Pollard. But Ezekiel Elliott is trying to, in my opinion again, is trying to execute bad play design. So I hear it from my people in the chat all the time. They'll just go, Zeke should have cut right, it was open. Zeke should have cut left, it was open. Running backs, they lose a step in athletic ability all the time. You know, when they get older, they lose a step. But running backs don't get stupid. Running backs don't forget how to run and start missing holes after they've been killing the league for 3-4 years. So Zeke is left trying to do what he's supposed to do in the play and trust his blockers that would open up for him so he can get through and make a big run. That's what Ezekiel Elliott is doing right now. And then I transition over to Baltimore and San Francisco. They have run and play actioned themselves into the best two football teams in the NFL. They just rolled over a couple of good teams this week. And if they somehow make it to the Super Bowl, if they have somehow make it to the Super Bowl, it will continue to confirm my thoughts on the number one, the top running teams always make it to the Super Bowl almost. I mean, almost always make it to the Super Bowl. And if you look at the top 5 rushing teams in the league and you look at the top 5 passing team in the league, the top 5 passing, you got Dallas and Kansas City. The rest of them are Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Chargers and teams like that that lose in weird ways all the time. Tampa Bay loses in weird ways. The Chargers lose in weird ways all the time because they're focused on something else other than the run game. But you look at the run game, I think you got Minnesota up there, you got the Ravens and the 49ers, of course. You have good teams in there in the run game. So we could be better than both of them. We could be better than San Francisco and well, surely San Francisco, but maybe Baltimore. We could be better than them if we ran the football the way they run the football. I mean, can you imagine? Can you see the San Francisco 49ers being this good if Jimmy G was in the shotgun for the majority of the game? Can you see that? I can't. I can't. So this is how I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling like our ability to run has gone, and we have no one to coach it back. So right now, I'm seeing a way we can finish 11-5. This is no doom and gloom video by any stretch of imagination. I see a way for us to finish 11-5, but I also see coaching and our chosen way to play the football game. They bring losses. They bring losses from anywhere. So we can look good, we can have good stats or whatever, but if you're not coaching your team well and you make bad in-game decisions like Jason Garrett and his crew has been doing, or if you choose to throw the ball too much, it brings losses. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow and we'll talk about those Buffalo Bills, which should be a win, which really should be a win. All right, holla at you. Peace.